a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
The bits.
Finally, it's almost over.
It's almost over, but it's not over unless I remind our wonderful listeners, hey, petition for the bits to go and be featured content creators at DashCon 2. It'll be fun.
I'm never gonna get over this.
Welcome to the bits hosted by your favorite jam buds, Robert.
And Charlie.
Oh man, Charlie, we are here on episode 51 of Steven Universe. It's called The Return. And I think, you and I, we have made our return having gone through the mist, but we brought someone with us.
Hey! Who is it? Who's here? Who's chomping on some bits with us?
That pun was so good. I loved it. Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
That wonderful British voice you're hearing is our friend Owen from a Percy Jackson podcast, Through the Mist. Owen, if you'd like to tell everyone who you are, what you do, and throw your pronouns in there if you'd like.
I'm Owen, he, him. Hi everybody. Pleasure to be here. Very excited to talk about Steven Universe, but usually I am talking about Percy Jackson and the Royverse as a whole and the theory, and I'm trying to understand how it all works on my podcast Through the Mist. It's just me, so I go insane often. I think that's all you really need to know.
He does go quite insane. It's very fun to listen to.
And then our second question we like to ask new guests is what was your introduction to Steven Universe, and how have you engaged with the show?
I was aware of it for a long time, but I didn't really follow anything. And I was seeing clips, and then the movie came out, and I watched the movie. Yeah, I started with the movie.
Oh my god.
Because and I went, oh, that was fun. Let's actually understand the backlog, the backstory properly, and then watch the entire show. And then just in time for what is it? What's
Future?
Yes, that's.
Steven
I was
Universe
thinking
Future.
Return, and I went, that's not the right word. Just in time for Future to come out. So I kind of movie, watch the show, then watch Future with very little gap in between.
Nice.
That is certainly a way to experience Steven Universe. But while The Return might be the bad word to use to describe the sequel series, it is the correct set of words to describe the episode we're looking at today, Season 1, Episode 51, The Return, which premiered March 12th, 2015. Now, before we commence, Charlie, did the postman bring us any post?
The postman did not bring us any post yet. No, we have no post.
Which is wild, because we have a mail right here.
I know. We finally have a mail on the podcast today.
That's me. Guys,
It's been so long.
I'm male.
Damn, we're denouncing...
We also have a cat in the room. Sorry.
Cat in the room. I also have a cat in my room. She's sleeping by my bed.
Want to say hi?
Meow.
Want to say hi? Orzo, say hi.
Orzo.
You were
look at
meowing
him.
so much.
He's such a lad.
A Chad, some may say.
Go in your castle.
Lads.
Everybody.
Oh, we also need to talk about how Owen is a surprise last-minute guest for this episode.
Not only am I a male in M-A-L-E, I am also male M-A-I-L.
So,
Yes.
who was the mail?
Because
In fact,
I have been posted to Roberts.
Yeah, currently Owen is in the beginning, as we're recording this, of his America tour, so to speak. His first stop
US
being
tour 2024.
His first stop being here in the little podunk town of New Jersey, that I live in, where Owen has walked and explored not just my town, but like every town within a 5-mile vicinity. This man has walked 20 miles in the past 2 days.
Why?
On top of going on a hike on Monday and going rock climbing yesterday.
Jesus Christ.
There's not much else to do, is there? You just go for a walk, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, my town is boring. I'm gonna be so happy when you're going to Lachlan, I think, next.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll be a little bit more exciting. But the excitement will get to an all-time high as we talk about this episode.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
It's got a bit of a cliffhanger, doesn't it?
It really does. Charlie, but the episode starts off with Steven going to get something. What does he get?
I think he gets the bits.
The bits. And Steven and Greg are talking about how the paranoids are like continuously coming down to Earth, and how Greg is starting to get worried about that, when all of a sudden there's a strange object in the sky. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a giant green hand.
Green.
It's a pointing finger. Makes people uneasy.
We get to my favorite joke of the episode in a little bit, but yeah, it's a giant pointing finger. And so, for those of you who can't see it, Owen is pointing at the camera menacingly.
Oh no.
So the crystal gems are like, wow, it's finally happened. Peridot is here, and she's here with her backup, which, as we all remember, not good.
I love that their ships are just like body parts. This is when we really start to learn that it's like we had the roaming eye in episode 2, and we're just like, okay, sure, whatever, it's an eye. It's whatever. But this is a hand. Very specifically.
Hand plus wrist.
Yeah. We have to have body parts as our ships specifically.
You know, that's going to be for a great question at the end of the episode. If you could travel in a body part, what would it be? Everyone think of your answer now so we can answer it later. The crystal gems go ahead and use the courtesan trio and the light cannon, which is forming, according to the Wikia, the courtesan quartet, and they shoot at the ship, and it's this beautifully animated arrow-like projectile that immediately just gets brushed off. Literally brushed off.
Well, yeah, this ship is like more. It's newer technology, and it's also bigger. I would, or maybe the roaming eye was also new technology. Who's to say? But it's definitely bigger and better than simply the eye. So
yeah. So because they're anticipating a battle, Steven calls Mayor Dewey, and we get my favorite joke in the episode.
Right? Best joke.
Best joke.
Oh.
Mayor Dewey is cowering in fear because he's like, as a politician, I get very uneasy with pointing fingers.
We also got to mention that we bring back the political favors thing that was mentioned several episodes back by Greg, I think.
Yeah, not even wasn't political power last episode?
Well, political power was, but Greg said, I'm also rewatching this season because Abby finally wants to watch it, but it was Greg saying it when Mayor Dewey came to the car wash. He's like, oh yeah, I'll do this and I'll get some political favors. And so they made a joke out of it.
And the political favors in question are, hey, it's time to evacuate the town. And Mayor Dewey wants to do it, but he needs it to be catchy. He needs a catchphrase.
Evac, you wait. Evac, you wait. I said evac, you wait.
Oh, we got the dubstep remix.
Yeah.
Evacuate.
It's been like this for 3 days. It's amazing. So yeah, they're called to evacuate, and Steven eventually comes back to the crystal gems and to Greg and be like, oh, hey, Dad, you're leaving too. Is that my luggage? And I'm like, Steven, yes, it's your fucking luggage because you are the only individual probably in the world of this point who owns the cheeseburger backpack.
Except for me.
And me too. My cheeseburger backpack is my gym bag.
I can confirm I saw it yesterday. It is a small bag of luggage, though, if you think about it, you know? How much, if it all can fit in there, how much clothes does Steven actually own?
He only owns the one shirt, but it's times, I don't know, 50 or whatever.
50 still a lot of clothes to get in that one bag.
Here's the thing, is that I think that they only packed the essentials. Maybe enough clothes to last
probably
a few days or whatever. If they really need to, they can go to the next town over or a couple towns over and go to a convenience store and get more clothes.
Yeah, they're just trying to get out of there quick, just in case this thing attacks right now. But also, the cheeseburger backpack has many a pocket. The buns are pockets, the cheese is a pocket, the lettuce is a pocket, everything's a pocket.
Let me break down the pockets of the actual cheeseburger backpack and what I use them for. So there's the main pocket, which is the patty slash bun that I use to store my gym lifting equipment. Then there's the middle one, that's the cheese slice, and I use that to store my climbing shoes and my chalk bag, and I think also my bottle of water. And then there's the front bun that I use to store my wallet and my keys when I go climbing or to the gym or whatever.
So the actual one only has like 3 pockets, but my assumption from Steven describing it the first time is that it has like 50 pockets.
Which is a reasonable assumption to have.
Number of pockets does not equal storage space.
If anything, it does kind of like, not diminish the storage space, but it like...
Makes it harder to use.
Yeah.
Unless you can get a lettuce that becomes like that thick, you know? As lettuce extends in thickness, you're not getting much stuff in the lettuce section.
You don't know. Maybe it can extend in thickness.
This is animation. We have no rules here, really. So
None.
Maybe it's just a TARDIS.
Yeah, maybe the cheeseburger backpack is the hamburger space, not the hammer space.
Maybe the
hamburger
cheeseburger
space.
backpack was the friends we made along the way.
so true. So true.
So they're leaving town, and Steven hopes that Peridot will be nice once she sees that, you know, the Earthlings are also nice. And Greg has doubts.
But first we have to convince Steven like that he needs to be protected here. Like,
Oh yes,
like
I love this
he's a
moment he has
small
with Garnet.
child, and the Gems and Greg are just like, no, we need to get you the fuck out of here because you're a child. You can't defend yourself here. No, get out of the fight. But Garnet's just like, I got this. Steven, you bring so much to this team. You're so like helpful, and we don't appreciate you enough. But to the people of Beach City, you need to protect them. You need to be our last line of defense. And I love that she's doing this. She's lying to him. But is she really?
The only way to make him go is to give him a job.
Exactly.
Stephen wants to be useful. It's his whole shtick. So she needs to make him useful.
Exactly. He likes to be helpful.
He likes to be helpful. So yeah, they're leaving, and Steven is hoping that Peridot will leave the Earth alone once she realizes that the Earthlings are nice people. Greg has doubts, and then he accidentally tells Steven that, hey,
Lord drop.
he's like, listen, Steven, the crystal gems and your mom, they were all originally part of the invading forces that like invaded Earth way back when, but then your mom rebelled because of, quote, something awful.
But also, I guess this is our first confirmation that yes, the gems themselves invaded Earth. I guess, even though I feel like it's at least been implied for so many episodes at this point. But this is our explicit statement of, hey, they were the bad guys. They decided, or at least our friends, the Crystal Gems, decided to become good and save the planet. But war is bad, and many gems and people died. So, yikes.
Yeah, which is quite unfortunate.
And that's why there's so many, like, battlefields that we've come across in amongst the series so far.
As Greg was explaining this to him, I loved the little montage of a bunch of different episodes that had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, it's all connected. Whoa.
Yeah, when you get the battles, you get the battlefield and the strawberries. But then when he says the bad thing, you get the amethyst back.
Because the bad thing that the main bad thing the evil crystal gem or the opposing crystal gems wanted to do was the cluster, right? And like the amethysts were like in charge of building it, doing something for it. I forget.
I think the cluster is separate from the bad thing. I think the cluster was like more their fail-safe on Rose Quartz's rebellion to like destroy the planet and destroy the rebellion once and for all. The bad thing was just the soaking up all the nutrients of the planet to make more gems and leave Earth as a hollow wasteland where nothing could ever live, or, you know.
Right.
Because, like, we've seen the kindergartens, we've seen how bad that is. We had our whole emotional amethyst episode of, like, I didn't ask for this, but, like, I was technically part of this thing that was so terrible that they did to the planet. I think that's what he means by that.
You do flashback to that episode.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, the cluster, I think that happened more later, like, during the war itself.
Right.
Or maybe even, I don't know, after, when Peridot was sending the paranoids. I'm not sure.
Greg is like, yeah, so your mom fought off the invading gems and they only technically won, quote unquote. She was able to drive them away, but she could only save a handful of her closest friends with her shield. So I guess that implies that one final last ditch effort was made to like shoot at and destroy the crystal gems. If I recall correctly, is that not the light that Lapis sees?
Maybe? The light that Lapis sees? Oh, like... I'm trying to remember what we've gotten from Lapis so far, but like, yeah, I think so. We'll find this stuff in the continuity.
Continuity. And so that's when Steven starts to be like, hey, Dad, I need to go back and help them. The only thing that can help them is my shield. And so Greg's like, okay, go save your friends. Well, go save your family at this point. I'll take care of the evacuees. And then I love this moment where it's like, well, how am I going to get back to Beach City? And then Lion shows up.
That'll work.
That'll work indeed.
Although it is quite concerning that Steven gets so emotional, makes a bubble, and stops the car, briefly causing an accident.
Also punches a hole into the airbag.
Well, he punches it. The airbag goes off, he creates a bubble in self-defense of the airbag, and then bounces out the window.
It's a emotional moment, but yeah, then we get on Lion, and we ride off to save the day. Yay, that's totally what happens, right?
Well, we've got to make a call, don't we?
Yeah, we gotta call Connie, leave a message. I love how calling the Maheshwaran's house is like, hi, you've reached the Maheshwarans, we aren't here right now. Leave a message, make it quick. Beep. Hey, Connie, I don't know if you've seen anything about this giant hand in the sky, but you should evacuate, and I'm gonna go deal with it with the crystal gems.
We may all die. Bye.
We may all die. All right, talk to you later.
This is so concerning, and we're not going to get to see what becomes of this message until this season 2 opener, Full Disclosure, which is an episode I can't wait for.
Neither can I. So they finally make it. They finally make it back, and they see that Amethyst and Pearl have turned into Opal in an attempt to shoot down the ship. My question is, why didn't they try and form Alexandrite?
Right? Why didn't we form Alexandrite? Why is it just Opal and Garnet?
Like, if we're being told that Homeworld has more advanced weaponry than we do, I would go with whatever my 100% is. And my 100%, I guess, would be Alexandrite in this case.
Yeah, that's the most they can do at this point, fusion-wise, so give them the most.
They can't turn into Obsidian yet.
No, sadly no. Giantest woman.
They can't even turn into Smoky Quartz yet. There's no
Nor
Smoky Quartz yet.
Sunstone.
No Sunstone,
Rainbow Quartz.
No Rainbow
2.0.
Quartz 2.0. But finally, the hand lands and it opens. Out comes Peridot, Lapis, and this larger gem who we later find out is named Jasper.
Just to go back a teensy bit, when Steven spots, when Steven gets there, Garnet spots him first, then Opal spots him, and then Opal splits, which I find which is cool because then Pearl and Amethyst has two very different reactions to Steven being there, because they have two very different reactions to Steven being there, which is like why the fusion then splits, because they're no longer in sync.
Yeah,
you get me?
I love that.
It's just a fun little detail.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very interesting how, like, the 3 gems pop out of there. Like, there's this little orb that comes out of the hand, and then it reveals that there's these 3 gems, and we finally meet the big buff Cheeto Puff herself.
Jasper, mommy. Mommy. Listen, I love buff women so much.
As you should. Buff women, just buff women.
Yeah. Jasper also has a grudge against Rose. And Jasper, when she sees what's there to fight them, isn't impressed. And she tells Peridot to destroy them with the ship. The crystal gems are like, hey, Steven, leave. But Steven's like, no, I'm a crystal gem too. And he puts a shield in front of them. Jasper freaks out because she's like, wait a minute. that shield, that symbol.
But also, it's very interesting what Jasper refers to them as. So, like, we have let me see the exact wording here.
Defective pearl.
Defective pearl. She calls Amethyst a puny runt, overcooked runt, and then Garnet is this shameless display. As you know, our last bit of foreshadowing to next episode when it's finally revealed the fusion that is Garnet. Because amazing. But like I feel like that's also important as we like start to learn like these are the reasons why they are not accepted by Homeworld. Like these 3 gems specifically, which like forms the larger arc eventually.
What was it that Jasper said exactly? She's like a malfunctioning pearl, an overcooked shortstop, or run through the lid or something like that. And I don't even think she said anything special for Garnet. She just said, and you, or something like that. Like
She said a shameless display.
A shameless display, that's what it is. Yeah.
And then they're gonna attack.
They're gonna attack.
Fight.
Well, it's not much of a fight because Garnet gets hit with a gem destabilizer. And
Yeah,
God,
fuck.
seeing this for the first time really fucked with me back then.
It's literally just trauma.
What's funny is you can see all like the different parts of the body in the sand, which I was funny. And then the gems were in the hands. But you got a square for the head, square for the body, square for the upper arm, square for the lower arm, legs.
It's not great. Garnet, you okay? You okay, buddy?
Garnet, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Garnet? You've been struck by a smooth Jasper.
And then I think I don't know if this is necessarily confirmed in canon or just like one of those theories that you saw on Tumblr back in the day. But like the gem destabilizers are like Yellow Diamond's power, I think.
There's definitely here's the thing, there's definitely a lot of yellow in this episode and the next one.
There's lots of yellow
there
and
is.
a lot of green. Like this entire scene is just lit in green. Like every character's green.
I admired the crap out of how the lighting for this scene worked because, yeah, like Owen said, everything's colored green, but the shading was still done so intricate you can still kind of see their original skin tones underneath all the green.
But you can't get the full big buff Cheeto puff until next episode.
Yeah.
So.
You're not quite sure what color Jasper is yet. You're like a light color. That's all I've got. You're more.
What's to say?
You're more white, like just spectrally.
Jasper's white?
Spectrally.
And so the episode ends with Jasper subduing the rest of the team and headbutting Steven because it renders him unconscious, and that's how the episode ends, with a black screen and more fucking static.
Yeah. Oh yeah, her gem weapon is literally just a fucking helmet that like that's a shape.
Yeah, it's like a rhino horn.
I mean, yeah. The fact that she doesn't even use it, she's like for Steven, she just puts the weapon away and then headbutts him with her regular face to be like, you don't even deserve it.
If she did it with her actual one, she might have accidentally killed him.
Well, she doesn't know what he is yet.
No, because they want to bring him to Yellow Diamond.
Just keeps on calling him Rose. Rose.
Yep, this is where we start dead naming.
Rose, literally dead naming, because Rose is fucking dead. She's gone.
I was gonna say, this is where we start the misgendering and dead naming of Steven. It's gonna be so fun. All right, do we want to talk about? Do we want to go to the Crystal Temple now?
For some Crystal Temple trivia.
Guess what? We only have like one thing of trivia, and then it's all continuity. So at least though, the one piece of like regular trivia is that the frontal close-up of Opal, when she shoots the arrow in this episode, is the same animation used in Giant Woman.
Yeah, and that is a bunch of continuity. So the laser light cannon and the core design trio make an appearance again. They were activated by the same method. Steven saying the phrase, "If every pork chuck were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs."
Eee.
The crystal gems used the same telescope to view the gem warship close up as they did with the red eye in Light Laser Cannon, and later to check for power dot in, cry for help.
And the fourth cannon that made its debut in Laser Light Cannon is moved via the Red Wagon once again.
Opal's outfit has changed since her last appearance due to Pearl's regeneration.
I didn't even notice that.
Stephen mentions that it is time for some political favours before calling Bill Dewey. This references cat fingers when Greg and Stephen were washing Bill's van, and Greg stated that they could get political favours when the job is done.
Boom.
You were right.
Yeah, it was cat fingers. The real reason Jasper calls Amethyst an overcooked runt is later revealed in Too Far. Amethyst should be twice her size as a normal quartz, but she stayed in the ground too long. Like, thousands of years too long.
10,000 years will give you such a stint in the growth. I don't know.
Do you think they grow and then shrink again?
Maybe. It's sort of like if you leave something growing for too long in real life, it will eventually collapse under its own weight and just shrink and die. So
I was gonna say it's like the opposite of like a child that's born too early. I was gonna say like because they're a lot smaller when that happens.
what if it's just like Benjamin Button disease, where they are made and they're huge and they got to shrink down to the right size? And finally, Jasper referring to Garnet as a shameless display is another hint at Garnet's true nature as a fusion, as well as hinting towards Jasper's own initial views about fusion. AKA, she's just homophobic.
Fusion is just a tactic to make weak gems stronger.
And now, our Pearl Points, second to last episode. And Pearl Points is just we assign a Pearl Point to a character or an object that we feel we like connected with or did something for the episode, etc., etc. So my Pearl Point goes to... Yeah, fuck it. It's going to Jasper, mommy.
You know, my Pearl Point is gonna go to the Core Design Quartet now. They're finally reunited, all four of them. They didn't do what we thought they would do in this episode, but you know, they really tried. They tried their best. This gem ship was like just too much for them. Owen.
Yeah, I just thinking about it. I think I'll go with Lapis for attempting to not get Stephen get knocked out by admitting the fact that he's got a gem in his belly button.
Yeah. She did try to say, like, oh, he's a human. Don't worry about him. And then he fucked it up.
And then, you know, he's like, I have my mom's shield. The question is, because I think it's just that they recognize that as just Rose's shield, right? Not Pink Diamond in any way?
No, it's just Rose.
No, because Pink Diamond, as far as we know, didn't have a weapon. It was just Rose.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, oh, that's wild.
That's going to be interesting to talk about.
It's now time for the question, which I already alluded to earlier. It's a good question. If you could fly around, if you could fly around in a body part, yeah, what do you want?
What would your gem ship body part be?
And don't say what we're all thinking.
Tongue.
Tongue?
What?
I want to be fucking weird. I want to fly around in a tongue.
You want to go to tongue?
Yeah, I want to fly around in a tongue.
Ooh. If we can go internal, that changes things.
I mean, I don't know about internal. Like, yeah, sure, the tongue's technically internal, but I can see it generally for most people. I don't want one of us to be like, oh, kidney. I'm like, no, that's weird.
Hey, that's what I was thinking.
Your intestines. Wait. If it's intestines, then it forms like a train.
Might be my small intestine. That would be so fun. It'd be hilarious.
There's the Jimmy Neutron movie when they're all flying into space to get to their parents.
Yeah.
One of them is a bunch of them are flying in the roller coaster.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my goodness. I mean, I feel like the eye is a classic, but if you're gonna go with the hand, then you gotta go with like the middle finger.
But then, how do you know it's the middle one? You know?
No, you go with the hand, but it's always positioned as the middle finger.
Okay. See, if we run through the options, we've got like whole arm, part of arm, torso, part of leg, part of foot. Then you got the weird ones like nose, ear, hair. Just be the hair, like just be an afro.
Just the hair. Just be a beard. There you go.
Yeah. Just
be a nice beard drifting through the stars.
Be a single eyebrow.
Yeah. No. No, you've
the
got
elbow specifically.
just 2 eyebrows and a nose.
Ooh, can you be bones? Can I be like a skull?
I think by Robert's rules, no, you can't. But you could be teeth, because you can see teeth.
Yes, you can see teeth. Let's go with a nice pair of teeth.
Just a nice pair of gnashes, just like old granny gnashes that you put in a cup.
Like one of those comedy, like chattering teeth that you wind up with, just flying around space, going.
Oh, wait. You guys, have you guys seen Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the robot Tobor that he tries to like he frees him and he just becomes like a pair of floating eyeballs and some giant teeth, and I'm just imagining riding on the teeth.
I think the teeth always have to be gnashing while they're moving, like it's part of their shtick.
That's how it goes. It's like Pac-Man.
Waka waka waka. All right. Before we end this episode today, when you'd like to remind everyone again who you are and what you do on the internet and where to find you.
Hi again, Owen, Through the Mist podcast about the Voidinverse and how it all works. So like Percy Jackson, Magnus Chase, and all that jazz. And I'm on Instagram at @through_mist. So that's a good place to start if you don't know. But if you just like search Through the Mist in whatever setup you're listening to, it should appear in there, and it'll be the one with the pink text. If you're interested to hear me go mad, I think that's a good one.
Fun. Join us next week for the final episode of season 1. And as always, remember,
if every podcast were perfect,
we wouldn't have the bits.
Bye.
Bye.
You can follow this podcast socials at The Bits SU Pod on Instagram and Tumblr. You can send a message to our Diamond line through thebitssupod@gmail.com. Be sure to give us a rating, a review, or let your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. That really helps. Our music was written and produced by Jason Hilton. You can find him at Negative Selections on Instagram. You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms, and I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws.
You can find me, Robert, at the Damn Meme page on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Damn is spelled D-A-M. If you want to hear more from me, check out one of my many podcasts. I have a Once Upon a Time podcast called Entering Storybrooke, a Kim Possible podcast called That's a Sitch, and an Osman Verse podcast called the Truum Grammar Book Club.
The Bits is proud to be a part of Deus Ex Media, which features great podcasts like Skywalk Before You Run, a Star Wars podcast where your host, Mary Clay, watches Star Wars for the very first time.
On my first podcast, That's What I'm Tolkien About, I experienced the world of J.R.R. Tolkien for the first time. Now, I'm turning my attention to a galaxy far, far away. My name is Mary Clay, and I am embarking on my first ever journey through the world of Star Wars. Join me each Tuesday as I drive deeper into hyperspace and discover what this vast universe has to offer. My guests will become like Obi-Wan Kenobi as they guide me through this adventure. The sequel trilogy is good information to have because I didn't know what to refer to those movies as.
There's a sequel trilogy, and then there are 2 spin-off movies that have come out in the last 10 years.
Okay, so very similar to Shrek. Shrek had the original trilogy, and then it had some spin-offs with Puss in Boots.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly like that.
Listen to Skywalk Before You Run every Tuesday wherever podcasts are found.
Dave X Media.